morning to you this Wednesday, trusting that you're well, right on time for KTN News Center. My name is Grace Nganga. Now, there have been unscrupulous entities in various NGOs that have been implicated in fraudulent activities ranging from significant procurement irregularities amounting to millions of shillings to deceive the public, obtaining money under false pretense and misappropriating funds. In response to these alarming reports, the NGOs Coordination Board has taken decisive action and is actively collaborating with the Directorate of Criminal Investigation to conduct thorough investigations into these fraudulent NGOs. And that is what we are going to be discussing this morning. And I'm joined by one Mr. Mutuman Kanata, who is Executive Director of NGOs Coordination Board. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Grace.
Thank you so much for creating time for KTN.
Thank you so much for hosting me here. And good morning to our viewers. And it's a pleasure always to be hosted by KTN.
All right, let us get right into it and let us take back to a report by FAF that was released some weeks ago, and in terms of money laundering. And also what was recommended was that NGOs should revise the regulatory framework for NGOs in the country. Perhaps what can you say about that? What is the current framework and what should be regularized?
Thank you very much, Grace. I think maybe I can take you back and tell our viewers what is the role of NGO Coordination Board. NGO Coordination Board was established by an Act of Parliament in 1992. The main role, the main function of the NGO Coordination Board, other than registering NGOs, is also to regulate the sector, to ensure that the sector, the NGOs comply with our laws, with our regulations, they comply with the laws of the land. Apart from that, we also ensure that they submit annual sector report, which forms the basis on which we advise government on annual basis on the status of the NGOs in the country. Having seen that, Financial Reporting Center is the body that coordinates all reporting agencies in the country in terms of issues around anti-money laundering and illicit financing of various things within the country. And of course, there is a reporting. They report to a body known as Task Force on Financial Reporting, which is a global watchdog that monitors that. And for us as the NGO Coordination Board, we are part of that cog. We monitor all non-profit organizations in the country. We have been given that responsibility by POCAMLA, that is Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, to report. And for the last 2 years, we have been engaged in that. And as the body that is reporting, we have undertaken various laws to ensure that that one happens. One of the issues that was identified in the last report was that there is a law that was passed in 2013 and signed into law by the former late president, Mwai Kibaki, which has not been operationalized. And the report saying that we need to operationalize that law so that we can strengthen our legal regime to ensure that anything to do with the proceeds, terrorism financing, the anti-money laundering is well monitored within that particular sector.
Perhaps if I should ask, how many NGOs have been registered so far under your board?
Since we came into existence, since we established the NGO Coordination Board, so far we have registered more than 13,000 NGOs. We cannot say that all of them are active. There are some that are not active, but we can say for sure about 4,000 organizations are active. But having seen that, what we report is not just the NGOs that we have registered. We are supposed to monitor even those other charitable organizations registered under different legal regimes. That is, if you look at the Societies Act, there are quite a number of organizations registered that are doing charity work within Societies Act. If you look at the Companies Act, there are quite a number of organizations registered as companies limited by guarantee. And also the others registered as trusts under the Ministry of Land. So in terms of reporting, we are supposed to do an assessment and give a report on that. So other than what we have registered, there are other entities that are non-profit that are also we are supposed to report on the basis of assessment that we are undertaking and we have been undertaking.
When we talk about these financial crimes, there are some people who take advantage of NGOs and look at them as a money-making machine. So for them, of course, they just want to come up with these NGOs, they make money out of it, and that's it. You're talking about, and then now we were talking about the financial crimes from the report that was released, I think last week by FAF. So what are you guys doing? How many cases have you reported so far? Because now you're partnering with DCI. And what are you guys going around doing about NGOs that maybe are not even registered, but they're going around just minting money from Kenyans?
Thank you very much, Grace, for that question, because it's something that we have been handling. We have seen an upsurge of cases for the last almost 2 years of entities. Some of them we have registered, others we have not registered, but they are calling themselves NGOs. We have received complaints from the public of people who have been defrauded money. An organization is registered under us. It has a very fancy name. It calls itself World International. When they advertise for tenders, the citizens are very vulnerable. They always want to make money quickly, not necessarily quickly, but everybody wants to make a profit. And this organization, is as a fancy name. They have set up a very fancy office, maybe somewhere in Westlands or in other upmarket. And when people go there and they see the kind of the setup of the office, they are just convinced that this is a legitimate organization, which is undertaking legitimate work. Unfortunately, some of them are crooks, and they have understood the psychology of Kenyans. So they will give you a tender, they will give you an LPO. You are supposed to deliver goods worth 10 million to be taken somewhere in needy places. You are supposed to deliver those goods in a warehouse somewhere. Then you are told you will be paid within 90 days. Unfortunately, those 90 days passes without you being paid. When you go back, some of them have closed office. You don't find them. When you write to us, we advise you to go to report first of all to the DCI for immediate investigations. Sometimes people have gone to court, and when they go to court, courts have made a decision. This is a civil matter, which means it has gone through the civil process in terms of litigation. So it's something that we have been working closely. We have worked closely with the DCI, the offices of DCI. At our institutional level, the NGO Coordination Board, recently we have recruited a senior officer in charge of investigation and enforcement who has a police background. We are compiling these cases. We are documenting every evidence that we are getting, which we will be able to furnish to the necessary prosecution entities, including the DCI, so that we have successful litigation process. Those people should be, if they are found guilty, then their necessary legal action, necessary sentences are done, including trying to recover the amount of money that people have been defrauded. But we would like to advise the public to be very careful before they just rush into supplying goods to people who are calling themselves NGOs. They need to look at the history of those organizations. How long have they been in existence? There are those credible NGOs in this country who have been working for this country for a long time. And they are known, and they are credible. When we talk about World Vision, those are credible organizations. When we talk about Care Kenya, which was launching its mission the other day, those are credible organizations. There are quite a number of them. But the others, that they were registered the other day, or they have just changed their names, and they're asking you to deliver goods worth 20 million, we also want to advise the members of the public to be careful about these businesses opportunities that are provided by these entities. And have you ever found yourself in situations where you had to, revoke some of the licenses of these NGOs, perhaps? Yes, we have, in fact, like now we have compiled a list of these organizations. We have submitted it to the board. We have written to them. We have given them notices of registration, and we are going to gazette them as registered. But then, unfortunately, what these people do, once they realize this organization has been marked, they change it out. Right. They look for another entity, which is not necessarily an NGO. They can even look for a religious institution. And I know the DCI are on top of it, the government is on top of it, and we are always liaising so that we can mark these individuals wherever they go, so that they can be easily nipped in the bud. All right, hold your thought on that. Let's now cross over to